So, I'm talking to myself again, and I think I'm liking it. Nobody's looking at this except me. So, um, I don't know. Denial is a heck of a thing. I realize that oftentimes we are in denial, that the realities of what we see and know, we choose to live in our comfort zone and completely ignore the realities. And so we tell ourselves stories, I guess, that makes it more palatable, easy to deal with. But we gotta face reality. I listen to myself talk sometimes, and there are multiple parts to me, right? As there are multiple parts to all of us. And so there are times when I'm on this high and I'm ultra positive, and there are days when I just struggle to remain positive, not allowing my emotions to lead. Because sometimes, when when your emotions lead, it leads you right over the side of a cliff if you allow it to. And the emotions are so strong sometimes that you give in to that and you just feel crappy, like really, really crappy. And then you feel crappy for feeling crappy, especially when you know better. And then not just that, but you're feeling crappy and you're feeling in a negative space, and then someone comes along talking and they need to be encouraged, and you feel almost fake. You feel like, you know, you feel so fake because you're saying to yourself, here I am, being all uppy, being all positive, encouraging, empathetic, sympathetic, spitting truths and strengths. But I'm not feeling that. So then it leads me to realize that I try to stop feeling that way, crappy, about being positive when I'm feeling negative, because I realize that it's about English. I realize that it's about, what was I saying? Yes, I realize that it's about truth, and the truth is we don't always feel positive, but it doesn't mean that we don't do and say positive things. So it's not really about what we feel; it's about who we are on the inside. And I realized that denying reality doesn't help any of us really. It just postpones the inevitable, and that not because it hurt, it doesn't mean that it's right, and not because you feel isolated, for example, and you feel so alone. I've felt that many, many times. To be frank with you, more times than not, I feel that way. But I realize that what you choose to do is to count your blessings, and you just keep it moving. I think for me personally, my life has been such that, yeah, it's been an interesting ride. I've lived a life where I realize that I've never really felt completely, I don't know, accepted. There are a few I can count on one hand, and not even my complete one hand, that I think completely accept me as I am, love me unconditionally. There are a few, and that would include my kids and my husband, right? But but I think that at the end of the day, I have to be okay with myself, and it doesn't matter what anybody thinks or feel about me. And I think for a long time, for long periods of my life, I wanted to feel accepted, and I wanted to feel like I belong. And so I'll be in the middle of a crowd and feel alone, or I'll be amongst family and still feel alone. But it is what it is. And I find out that since I can't fix that, since I can't change that, the only person I can change is me. And the change for me is about accepting me as I am, loving me completely. Then it doesn't matter who does or doesn't. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I've listened to people's stories sometimes, and I seem to be all over the place, right? But since I'm the only one looking at this, hey, who cares, right? But the realities are that we're sometimes just in a space where we don't always feel positive. We don't always feel like, yeah, we don't always feel positive. We don't always feel as if we got this all together. But the fact is that no matter what space we find ourselves in, there's always something in us for someone else. And I think that's the key. It's not always about me. My life is not always about me. So really and truly, I'm not always going to feel great, and I'm not always going to feel on point, and I'm not always going to feel as if I have it together. But the reality is, no matter where I am on the spectrum, no matter where I am on this journey of life, wherever I find myself, there is someone that I have something for. There is someone that has something for me, and guess what? They might feel the same way I do, but there's something that I need. There's a gem, there's a nugget that they have that I need. And so I realized that, guess what? We all have something. We all carry seeds that others need to grow. And so the key is to become available. The key is to allow ourselves to deposit the seeds that are given to us, because all we are really carriers. We're carriers of the gift of life, and we're carriers of these seeds, and we have to plant them. And sometimes the ground in somebody else's the soil of their soul is ready for them to be impregnated with whatever it is that you carry. So really, it's not about us, is it? Food for thought.